Hey guys, welcome back to the Make It Happen podcast. My name is Melanie Moreno, and I am an artist, a content creator, and the host of this weekly podcast. So something I've been thinking about lately is how I tend to take a very serious approach to everything I do. In other words, I try to squash anything distracting that might delay certain goals of mine from being met or tasks from getting done. When I was younger, I used to get called things like uptight and disciplined. I would receive adulation for my extraordinary willpower. But I really think it's less about me having an otherworldly amount of willpower and more about the fact that it's super difficult for me to take things easy. As I've mentioned in previous episodes, I've been trying to approach situations with a greater sense of calm and not let myself create a bunch of pressure to be the best. I try to put out content that is my idea of the best in terms of my own capabilities, but I also realize I don't need to isolate myself and run myself into the ground to make things perfect. Perfect is a myth anyway. You guys know I love setting intentions. And one that I picked up after reading The Universe Has Your Back by Gabrielle Bernstein is to include joy. Just as much as I value creating high-quality art or content, I want to make sure that the time I put in is also joyful, because that's how I can get value out of it. Again, so instead of overworking myself, I'm trying to give myself more space to do things simply because they are fun and not because I'm seeking any other form of validation. A tip mentioned in the book is to ask yourself, when you notice you're feeling out of alignment, how can I bring more joy into this? So for me, that immediately helps me shift my perspective from the forceful, task-oriented behavior and into a more relaxed attitude. In the same spirit of seeking joy, I've been trying to observe how others bring joy into their work and their projects. That's part of what really attracted me about today's guests. It's the first time I'm interviewing more than one person, but today's crew are the 3 members of the multimedia project called The Flu. They're in the early stages for sure, but when I first saw their music videos and heard their songs, I was just reminded of the intentions that I have for when I start projects. You can probably relate. When you first take on a project and begin experimenting with something new or something creative, you do it because it's fun. This happens with hobbies, but it should also be applied to anything you do for work. Truth be told, the podcast started as being just for fun, and along the way, it did kind of start to feel like work. So my current intention is to not take it so seriously and just talk about topics or interview people that are fun to me. Some of you guys listening might be like, I thought that's what you were doing. And it is, but sometimes I really want to nail home a heavier topic, and I put a lot of work into trying to find the right guest to discuss such a topic and planning out questions and all that sort of stuff, or even just the topics that I want to touch on myself, like with my solo episodes. So a lot of thought goes into each of these episodes, but I'm also recognizing that sometimes the way episodes unfold in a less structured sort of way and in more lighthearted tones, those are just as fun to listen to. So that's kind of the spirit that this one has today. I'm joined by Ian Silva, Andrew Tylenda, and Marissa Vianée to talk about how they started The Flu, which, let me just mention, The Flu is not nothing related to the current epidemics going on. The Flu is just the name of their project, which they're going to totally explain how that name came about in the episode. So we talk about what the process of collaborating is like and what motivates them to create. As you'll be able to tell during the interview, they have so much respect for each other. They are friends first, and it shows. I'm sure that's what helps breathe joy into their music and their videos and art. It's also not mandatory, but I highly recommend if you can go over to SoundCloud or YouTube and just check out their songs beforehand. That way you can get an idea of what we're talking about here when we discuss the mashup of visual and audio sort of components to their project. as I've said, I've been trying to integrate more joy into my work, and hearing the way the Flu collaborates and their approaches to work, it's just so fun. I feel like they're doing something so original and uniquely entertaining. So I'm excited to be able to chat with them at this really early point in their development, and I'm sure they're going to be on to big things. One last note before we get into this conversation. For longtime and new listeners, I'd like to please ask you guys to leave a rating and review for the podcast. If you're listening from an Apple device or computer, then click over to the iTunes app. It is so easy and it takes less than 5 minutes. Word of mouth helps the podcast grow, but reviews also play a role in helping this podcast reach new ears. So, with that, let's welcome Ian, Andrew, and Marissa to the Make It Happen podcast. Well, let me start by saying hi, welcome to the Make It Happen podcast. Thank you guys so much for being here. This is my first time talking with 3 people, so this is really different.
Yeah,
thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, this is our first time on a podcast, so this is cool.
So, how about we just start with you guys introducing yourselves individually and tell listeners a little bit about you. Tell us about maybe your upbringing.
I'm Ian. I don't know what my title would be. Lead vocalist, I guess. Lead lyricist for the Flu. I grew up here in Phoenix. I've been here for the past 10 years. So, this will be year 11. So, I've been here for 11 years, and I grew up here in Phoenix.
Oh, I'm Andrew. I do like the instrumentals, the music behind the Flu, and some of the artwork that we do. And I grew up in Calexico. I think I had an interesting upbringing. My family is very interesting people, very loud, very fun, very strange. Yeah, Imperial Valley is my home, and definitely made me a strange person.
Yeah, I feel that. I'm Marissa Silva. I do the music videos, editing. I watch them do the music process, and then I think of how to make it look fun. So I grew up in El Centro from the Imperial Valley. Also very weird. I don't know. The valley seems very small now, but growing up in it, it seemed like the biggest place. So it's cool to go back and forth between Phoenix and El Centro now that I'm older.
So how'd you guys meet? I'm guessing Andrew and Marissa already knew each other, but how'd you guys meet Ian? How'd you guys start getting together to collaborate?
I'm actually her brother.
Yeah.
So we actually,
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had a weird upbringing. We grew up kind of separately, but we've always been super close. And then, so Ian and I have always been in each other's lives. Then I met Andrew in high school, and then we became friends after high school. And Ian has just been
I just tag along.
Us, yeah.
Yeah, Marissa and I, we have a cute little love story. We've been dating for 3 years, but we had each other in freshman year. And I remember her sitting across the class, and I was like, wow, she's super cute. Didn't say a word to her for 3 years or something. We had a class together. We kind of talked, and we didn't really become friends until after high school. And then, yeah, we eventually started dating. And then, when we were friends, I knew Ian too. So eventually started dating, and I don't know, Ian became also just one of my best friends. He's a brother figure in my life.
I did it.
How's it working with them, Ian? How is that? Do you feel like a third wheel all the time, or is it just you guys are all equal ground?
Not really. I feel like they do a really good job of incorporating me into the group. They're not okay, we're dating and then there's this other kid with us. I feel like they do a really good job of being we're going out as a group, so we're going to be a group. I think that's part of our friendship is we know kind of where I know where to my boundaries lie and stuff like that. I'm not going to try and be in their relationship. So so I think it just comes down to us knowing that when we hang out as a group, we're hanging out as a group, not as a third wheel and as a couple.
Yeah. Ian and I have always been even we are 4 years apart, but it's never really seemed like that unless we were going to school. And so he's always had a similar mindset and a similar maturity when it came to comedy and interacting with people that were older than him. So that's why he and Andrew get along so well as our other friends who are all our age of like 23, and Ian's only 19. We've always tried to like even out the friendship playing field, I guess. So that way we don't exclude Ian ever, or he doesn't feel like he's much younger than everyone else.
Yeah.
So for each of you, what was your first dive into creative expression? So whether that was with music or art or whatever you might define as that.
For me, it was probably high school. I got into like theater and musical theater and doing all that. And I also like did painting and stuff like that during high school. So for me, it was like finding out about art in high school and like going through high school at a small art school and like just learning like the different aspects of like theater and music and art all at the same time. So it was really, I think that's kind of my first real push into music and the arts.
I remember when I was small, my sister, it was funny, she doesn't do much art. I see her like write poems sometimes, but she was really good at drawing. And I remember being like 4 and I loved to draw just like bad pictures, and my dad would always like put them up on the refrigerator and stuff. So like I just remember always liking to make stuff. I eventually just like evolved into music and stuff, but like I like to draw just like doodles and stuff. So I remember focusing a lot on that when I was small.
Yeah, similar thing. I never really got into music. I never was good at engaging and learning that kind of stuff. I've always just been more of a I can't say hands-on because like all music is hands-on, you know, but like drawing and doodling and everything, I've done that since I can remember. And then it eventually got into expressing myself in different art forms. So I do like the music videos, I draw a lot and paint and all of that good stuff. So it's always just been like a connecting factor for all of us as well.
Yeah, she's really good at embroidery too. Like I remember her one day last year, she was just like, I'm gonna get into embroidery. And then like a week later, she was embroidering things. And I was like, did you like look up a video? And she said no. She just kind of taught herself how to embroider.
I just think it's important to include a lot of different ways to create different things. So like even when it comes to like the flu, like you guys have thought about like sticker ideas and stuff like that, and like even the graphics that you guys put for the music that you send out, like all of that stuff, it's all a different way to express. And I think learning about any sort of aspect of creative processes, no matter what it is, I think that's really cool.
So this would be a good time to sort of talk about the flu and what it is. Just how did it start? How did you guys decide on this project idea? What is it? Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what the flu is.
So the flu, we're just a collective band right now, three members, but it's funny because it started off as a joke between Ian and I, like I don't know, like years ago.
4 years ago.
Yeah. It was
picture. When we were 19.
Yeah.
Wow.
He took a picture. Yeah. He took a picture of like a bird.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And I had just put like it was like on Snapchat, and I put the basic like Snapchat text on it, and I was like, "This looks like a funny album cover." And I showed it to him, and he's like, "It's our album cover." And then like a couple minutes later, I don't remember if it was Andrew or I think it was Andrew that was like, "You know what our name should be?" And then he was just like, it should be the flu. And when I asked why, he just looked at me and deadpan was like, "'Cause we're sick." And I like, that was the moment that I was like, okay, this has to be a reality at some point.
Yeah.
And it took 5 years, but here we are.
Yeah. It was funny because I remember him specifically being like, I want it to say friend. Like it was a picture of a bird in some dirt.
Yeah.
And like I thought it was hilarious, so we kept it as an ongoing joke. We'd like take pictures of stuff and be like, all right, this is gonna be the cover for our 4th album, this is gonna be the cover for our 5th album, and we'd just say funny like one-liners and be like, that's gonna be the name of the single. Like it was just a running joke for a while until I moved to Phoenix. I'd just start making stuff, and I don't like vocalizing stuff. I don't like singing too much. Like I've done it before, but I'm not a big fan of it. Lyrics are super hard. But Ian likes to write. So I was just like, hey, Ian, like, can you write some words to this? And he was just like, yeah, all right. He's just like, yeah, I'll give it a shot. And then eventually, like, we made 2 music videos, and we're working on like another one. And that's like, Marissa is always sitting in here with us when we're like making the music. So we're just like, you're a part of the band anyway.
Yeah, it's definitely like some like multimedia type of like project. I consider us more an art project than I do a band, just because I think that we're more than just the music. We also produce art for the like music. We produce art, just the three of us. We each do our own thing. Mm-hmm. So I think we're more of an art project to me rather than a real like music band collective thing.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever, like, each song that you guys have put out and each music video, it takes, I want to say, if we were actually concentrated on making stuff like in a process, I think it would take like 3 days. Because you guys will be sitting in here or even at like dinner, or we're making food or something, and then you guys hear like a beat or something, and then Ian starts just freestyling over it, and we're like, oh my god, save that. So then he'll save it on his phone, we'll come upstairs, record it or something, and then as they're doing that, I'll think of something to do for a music video, or Andrew will start thinking about like the cover art and stuff. So I feel like it's more winged than planned, but I think that's what the flu is about also. Like we just kind of think something's cool in the moment and then put it down into.
I think that also like helps us like creatively, because we're not so like bogged down worrying about like, oh, what are we gonna do next? What are we gonna do next? It just kind of, as it comes to us, and we're just like, okay, that's what we're gonna do, and we don't put too much thought into it. We don't worry too much. So I think that really helps our creative process as well.
For sure. Yeah.
What's it like for each of you guys? I mean, so I've only ever worked individually. I've never collaborated with someone on something so personal as music or art. I've never done that, but I know each person brings their own method to the table. So what's it like for each of you individually versus coming together with your ideas? Like the whole collaboration process, what's that like?
Because I don't contribute musically. Like, I have never played an instrument in any song. I've never added any lines or anything. But when I'm sitting in the room and Ian says something into the microphone, he's singing a lyric or something, I'll either go like, that was really cool, or well, maybe change that line or something. Or like, it would be cool if it sounded like this or whatever. Like, just small input. And then when it comes to making like the music videos and stuff, yeah, they come to me with their ideas, and then I kind of like set them up because I know what is possible and what is not possible in film. So it's important for them to be like, okay, we want like fireworks and all this and these like colors. And then for me to kind of go, okay, well, we can do this because we have a really small budget. And so it's important for us to understand what we bring to this band and what we can take from it as well, creatively.
Yeah, I think it also helps us like coming, because we're all so different like artistically. Like none of us have a real like set defined, like there's no real connection between what we do artistically. So I think it really helps for like all of the different inputs. Like Andrew coming in musically, he can tell me whether I'm like off pitch or what, something like that, or he can tell me, you know, like that line won't fit for whatever reason or something like that. And like then we can go like artistically for the music videos. I think very big, so I'm like, we should go to a mountain and do all of these different things, and my sister's like, okay, well, I can only do these things. So I think it really helps for us to like be three different artists, three individual artists, than like a whole just art group.
Yeah, I think it also helps to set what our limits almost. It's like if we wanted to film on the mountain, like was it the second video that we did?
Yeah, that's the big boy one.
Yeah, the big boy one that we did was on a mountain, and we went up there. We thought of the idea like for 2 days, and we're like, okay, let's do it on the third day. So we went up the mountain, and it took us about an hour. And we were just like spitballing ideas at that point. We had kind of a foundation, and then we went up there and we're like, okay, let's do it this way because I think it sounds nice this way. And then at the same time, we're thinking about how to edit it together. So we all correlate our ideas somehow. It's never like Andrew has his own specific idea and then we only do his idea, or we only do Ian's idea, or we only do mine. It's like we make sure that we use each one of our skills to kind of collaborate in that way.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a super collaborative process, which I'm super thankful for, because like I've always wanted to make music, but again, like I don't like writing lyrics and I don't like singing and stuff, so like it's super difficult. But that I don't have to think about that anymore because I have Ian. Ian's gonna come up with something that I trust, I think is cool, sounds great. And if I have like a kernel of an idea, I could take it to Marissa, and both of them, we come up with an idea all together. So it's like less stress on like the thinking of how I'm going to do it all by myself when we're a team. We're a team, and it's very much the collaborative nature. It's almost like a group think. Just like Marisa mentioned, like we'll be in here and Ian will be singing, rapping into the microphone, and we kind of will take that and say, okay, you could change that, or no, that sounded great, that was awesome. We're either we're hype men or we're just trying to trim it down. So it's really cool. We all really put ourselves into it. So I think that's what's really cool about working together as the Flu.
Yeah, it's also every song that you hear from the Flu is all going to be different. None of them are going to sound the same or remotely look the same or anything, because every single time they're like, okay, I feel like, or Ian will come to us and say, I feel like screaming into the microphone, and Andrew's already on the electric guitar or on the drums, like ready to go. Like, okay, what kind of beat do you want? And I'm already like, okay, let's think of how to like put this out there and everything. So it's a fun process.
Yeah.
That's wild. So was there anything that you guys felt prior to starting? I feel like sometimes the ideas we have come from a void in media. Like we have an idea for something that doesn't exist already. Do you feel that there was something missing in maybe music or music videos, any of that sort of thing that kind of also motivated you to start the Flu?
For me, I think it was just like a void of like not producing anything myself. I paint very rarely, or I'll do, but I have like a lot of ideas. I don't write a whole lot, but when I do, like, so I've kind of felt like there was like just a void in my life, kind of just being like, I need to create something and put it out there for people to like view or listen or anything like that. And I think it was just more of a personal void that I wanted to fill in my life. And I found that in writing lyrics and creating like Photoshop pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a void, but I like to combine a lot of my inspirations that I have because I love creating stuff. I love making music all the time. I'm always doing it. I'm always tapping my foot. I'm always like singing stuff in my head. And like I make a lot of tracks and they just end up staying on my computer. So it was a really good way to get some of the ideas out of there and just kind of give them air and a new life, especially like bringing someone's voice who I didn't think of in the first place. Like I'd always think in terms of my voice, but I never wanted to. But having Ian, like it gave a new life to these songs that I thought of differently. Yeah, I don't know. It was really cool. I like combining a lot of the music that I like. Marisa had mentioned that we try to make every song sound different, and like from the four that we have, I think each one's super different, and the ones coming are going to be even more different just because I like so much different music, and I don't hear a lot of people like going from dreamy guitars to just like punk guitars to a hip hop beat to like some weird, like we have the song Big Boy. I love it so much because it's just silly weirdo pop, so like I just think it's cool to be able to take so many different forms.
I think that's really what the Flu is just all about, is being different. Like we don't want to really be, at least for me, I don't really want to be stuck in like a certain way and people like kind of categorize us or like put us in like a genre or anything like that. I think it's super important for me just artistically to be different in every aspect that we can.
Yeah, and like when it comes to not only musically but like visually, like with Big Boy, it's such a weird beat and there's so much that you can do with it. I was gonna add like colors and everything and change it up and make it like super weird, but then Ian came to me and Andrew agreed that it should just be cuts instead of like adding color or anything because it's already as weird as it is. And I think being able to express what we think the sound should look like is really cool process for me because each song is no longer than like 2.5 minutes, and so you have 2.5 minutes to show what what we want in that music video. So it's really cool to have a creative outlet in that aspect.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. I also think it keeps us from going like too like crazy with our ideas, because like if we produce like a 5-minute song, we'd have to fill 5 minutes of video time, and then we'd be like, well, we can do this and we can do this, and it just get bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually we're like, oh, this is a work. This is just, and I think that's really important to me too, is that I don't want this to feel like a job. I don't want it to feel like work to me. I want it to continue to be like just
silly.
Yeah, just silliness. Like, even if we do start playing shows, or even if we do go live, we do like produce like stickers and stuff like that, I don't really ever want this to really feel like I have to do it, like it's my job.
If you guys were to take this live, how would you even do that? I feel like a really important component of what it is you've created is that visual aspect that Marissa has contributed. So how are you going to convey that if you were to go live?
Oof.
Dang.
Yeah. So there are, I mean, even though every song is so different, it's not like you're gonna go from like spitting on the audience to like sitting nicely, and singing a cute little song. I think the way that we incorporate each music video, even from like the first Christmas song that we put out, it was just the two of them just doing whatever they wanted. We got to a park and they were like, okay, we're gonna do this, record us like dancing in a circle, and it was awesome. So I think it would be as random as the music is, but I don't know if it would I don't think you guys would like jump up and down and be kind of like a super weird band like that where you're jumping all around the stage. I think you guys would be centered and just kind of doing the songs, but kind of bouncing around to however you feel the music should be bounced to.
Yeah, I definitely would want to incorporate. I haven't even thought about the live aspect yet. It seems so far away, but I want to. I definitely need to find a band to like get these songs in a live feeling. But I definitely would love to do like costumes and stuff and just decorate the instruments. I love just personalizing stuff. Like, I've painted my drum sets. I have my pick guards on my guitar. I customize. So like, I definitely want us to add an element that would make it look unmistakably like the flu, but we haven't gotten that far yet.
Yeah, I think idealistically, I think that's what we all kind of want to be at the end. Like, if we like go bigger and we decide that we want to do like live shows, I think there definitely have to be some like weirdness to us, like that, like you never watch the same show twice kind of thing. Like, whatever we do like is gonna be just a spur of the moment thing, and once if you were lucky enough to be a part of it, then that's cool. But if you weren't, then you're not going to see that. You're not going to see us perform that way again.
Yeah, for sure.
Are there any mistakes that you feel you've made it could be in the collaboration process, or just things that have really impacted the way now, I know, Andrew, you've been in other bands before, so kind of the experiences that you guys each have in working with others and sort of bringing your best to the table. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, something that I guess has taken too much of my time was like thinking about it too much. I've made music for a few years now, but I don't put too much of it out. I don't like promoting it. I get really self-conscious about putting my name on stuff, even if I have a pseudonym, and like I'm just nervous to put stuff out there. So I kind of did away with that when we started like coming up with the flu, because the first few songs that we were making, we didn't think about the lyrics and stuff. And I always thought you had to think about lyrics and you had to say something like super important, but you don't. Like, you could just make music because music is fun to make and it's cathartic to dance to. And it's just, again, just fun to make for me. So I try not to think about too much. What, like, our song, like Big Boy, is like our ethos right now, because I came up with it, the background instrumentals, in like 20 minutes. And I thought it was stupid. Like, I was just like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. Like, Ian and I were just chilling in my room and I just came up with something on the bass and I was like, oh my God, this is ridiculous. And then Ian started doing this Talking Heads-esque like voice over it. And I was like, that's exactly what this needed. Like, this stopped being stupid to me and it like became this ridiculous weirdo anthem, like, all of a sudden. So that's how it kind of, like, that's what I've brought. I just try to stop thinking about it, and I think it has paid off for me.
Yeah, I think that's also really important to me too, was having to let go of like the worry about it and like being anxious. Like I know for me it's a big thing to be like, well, are people gonna listen to it, or and I had to kind of let that go and just kind of be like, well, even if people don't listen to it, maybe I got like a few people to like dance to this song, or maybe I got a few people to like listen to the lyrics or anything like that. Because my lyrics, I don't think are too like complicated to understand or anything like that. Like they're pretty straight to the point. That or they're nonsense. But I think it was really important for me to let go of that worry as well, of whether people are going to enjoy this or not, and just kind of be like, well, people like what they like. If they don't like this song, then whatever. I had fun making it. I had fun putting my 2 cents into it.
Yeah. I think not thinking about it too much, because then you start getting like in your head, you start thinking like, well, maybe I could do it this way, or maybe it would sound better if I do it another way or whatever. And because I don't have any I do have input into the music, but you guys are just so like, you have this like wing it attitude, and I'm all about that. Like if you guys think it sounds amazing right now, I totally hear it. And then if I don't, then I'll let you guys know. But I think being more creative and doing it sooner was a mistake. Like we should have like jumped on it like years ago, really.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I mean, like just starting it now is progress. So
Yeah.
I think continuing to do so is
because I don't think that either one of us ever, like when we were making the jokes originally for the flu, I don't think any one of us actually thought that this was going to be a real thing. I think it was always in the back of our heads, always like, yeah, whatever, this is just an inside joke that we have with each other, and it was funny and whatever. And then for it to come true is almost like, I think we just kind of had to let go of the worry of it, because this whole thing started off as a joke anyway. So like even if it crashes and burns, it doesn't really matter to me, because it was a joke in the first place.
Yeah, and we enjoy doing it. Like that's the main takeaway, is like we're having fun.
Yeah. So like if we get like 40 listens, or if we get 2 listens, we're like, all right, at least those 2 people are bopping to this music.
Yeah,
That's
for
tight.
sure. Yeah.
And I know that like we send them out to people before we let the entire like world listen.
Yeah.
We send it to like a couple of our friends, and like, is this okay to like put out? Is this good? Is it? And like for the most part, everybody's like, yeah, this is really good stuff. We like what you're making. Like continue to do whatever you're doing, even though we've sent them 4 different types of songs.
Yeah. And that's what we do it for. Yeah, it's definitely like it's just fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
You mentioned so you guys were 19 when the idea first sort of came to you about the flu, but so what stopped you at the time, you think? Like if you look back to your younger self, what was, and you too, Ian, you mentioned that a large reason that you wanted to get involved right now is kind of feeling the void of that expression. So do you guys feel like you had that need at the time too, 4 years ago? Or what was the reason that you didn't actually start
I
the
think
flu?
my age, a big aspect of it. I was 16 at the time when we made the joke, so I was by far the youngest person that they were hanging out with. I definitely didn't have the like experiences. I mean, I'm only 19, but like I didn't, those like extra years give you some like once it's kind of like once you leave high school, kind of hindsight kind of thing. And I think it really took me having to grow up a little bit and learning like how to work with people and how to like be creative with people and stuff like that. And that all took place in like high school. Like being in musical theater for me, I didn't really have that void because I was already collaborating with people. But once I left high school, there was nothing really left for me to do. All of my art was either going to be independent or I'm going to have to find somebody. And so I just kind of grew that void like after leaving high school and realizing that like I don't have people to collaborate with anymore. So I think that really helped, was leaving high school, like learning how to become more an independent artist and within myself and stuff like that. And I think it took the time. I think it had to be a joke first before I could ever, like, if we were like, let's do the flu, like, ha ha ha. And then that day we started working on, I don't think we'd be as good. Like, I don't think our music would be as enjoyable. I don't think my lyrics would have been as nonsensical or anything like that.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely needed experience, because when we probably started joking around, I was super early into making music, and I probably didn't even know how to write and fully record a song properly. So a lot of it came from just working with people over the years, learning how to be a producer, learning how to like use my equipment properly. Because like at the time we were just joking, and it was just a joke. We were just like ha 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 ha. And then I moved over here and we had the space. I like have all my music stuff out and about, and like we just have a creative zone to work in. So like Ian has come in here and like he'll be like, let's work on something now. So now it's like proximity too, but definitely time and experience.
Yeah, like when we started, I had just moved up here to Phoenix to go to school. So I was already doing other projects, and like the joke was really between you guys, like musically, and I was kind of always with you, so it just became like I kind of tagged myself on. But it was always funny because we would always talk about, I would make like these music videos and haha, like they'd look like this, and we'd use all these colors or whatever. And it was always just kind of like an imagination, like how far could we take it? And then when Andrew moved up here, it was like, oh, we can actually do it now. Okay, cool. But it didn't really like set as a maybe this could happen in the future. I never thought about that. I never thought like you guys would actually be making music.
I don't think I ever thought we'd actually do it. Like I was always like, the flu's just a joke. Like it's gonna be a joke.
Yeah.
I don't think I ever put any like time into it. Even when we like first started, when he first moved up here, like the first couple of songs, we were just like messing around, and it wasn't until like the second song that we had created that we were like, oh man, we're actually doing it. We're actually like creating the flu.
Yeah, and the first few songs is really funny because we've stemmed off from our ideas like completely. Because we first started and it was all like Black Keys ripoff songs. Like it was all blues rock. Like I love blues rock, so I was just trying to learn how to write a fat riff. And like I'd be in my room just like with my distortion pedals on, and I'd be like, all right, Ian, you need to come up with some soulful crooning. And he did, and then we had a few songs and we didn't really like them too much, and then we started making other sounds, and it just
I think
from there.
I think that's really what it was too, was that for so long it was a joke and we treated it as a joke, and then when it started to not become a joke, we were like, well, how do we make this serious? But like there was no way that this was ever going to be serious. Like I don't think that you can start off as a joke and then be like, okay, how are we going to make this into a multimedia corporation? Like, like we definitely had to keep some of the like joke factor into it.
Yeah. Like even if you watch the very first music video that we put out, the Christmas one, that was done in a park, and we saw a family walking by and we're like, oh my gosh, we're actually out here doing this. Like,
people can
it's only
see us
like doing this right now, but everyone is going to see it. And after we got notes back from people actually watching this video and actually listening to this music, were we like, oh dang, okay, well I guess we'll just continue. So
how do you guys feel out there? Like you're singing and doing all these funny moves and people are walking by.
Silly.
You definitely feel awkward. Like I always thought like, nah, they're gonna get it. Like
like when we were on the mountain, we were just kind of like, it's a mountain that you can like it's a mountain that you can go up and hike and everything. Like it's a public mountain basically, and so we just walked a few steps down from this lookout where you can see the entire city of Phoenix. And we're like, okay, let's just pitch on a rock and you guys do stuff, just move around, I guess. So it was just kind of me with no tripod, like leaning on a rock. And these people, like we'd have to wait because we'd hear footsteps and we're like, okay, pause the music. Like just wait for them to pass. And then like at the park, it was like a family. There was a mom and dad and like 2 children and their dog. And we're like, should we not say anything because this song has like curse words? We want to like save the kids. Like we don't want to like tell them about
weird.
This stuff yet.
It's something that I never like considered. Like if I put out a song, like I'd always thought like, I'd want to make a music video, but I never thought of what making a music video consisted of, and it's you having to go out into somewhere because we can't afford like a studio space. So like our best friend is the outdoors, so like it's free public spaces, whether it's like a park, a mountain, a lake. We just have to go out there, and again I had to let go of that fear of like being in front of people, because you just have to like, I have to sit there and I have to sing out loud, and I have to act like a weirdo in public because we're filming.
And I think it's really important because I did some music videos while I was still in school, and so I'd been out there with the public, and you just kind of have to be like, I'm sorry, like we're recording right now, like so sorry, like we'll be out of the way in like 2 seconds, I swear. And then you're like, okay, action, and then you get the shot, and then you leave immediately because you're like, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for taking up the sidewalk. But that's how you express it, because if you don't act like you're confident and you're actually like out there to have a good time, like it'll show on camera, and you won't believe it, you know, as weird as it may be. Yeah. So like with the Christmas one, it was really interesting because Ian jumped out of the car with like a poncho thing on, and Andrew happened to have one in the back of his car, so he's like, I guess I'll wear it too. So he put it on. We're like, I guess, like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah, it definitely, it feels as silly as you'd think, you know, like
if you watch it and your reaction is to go, like, what? Oof. Like, that's our reaction to it. Like, we were definitely like, we don't put much thought into it, because I think the minute that we start like really putting thought into it, we're gonna like lose it, and it's just gonna be like, oh, what do we do next? Yeah. So like, I think we have to wing it every time.
You just have to get comfortable with that red feeling in your face, and just like remember that you're doing it for fun, and sometimes you just have to look silly in public for like just to have fun. Yeah. And like it ends up being fun anyway, but like it's just usually it's the initial like, like you're getting the camera up, and we're
getting out of the car with like our weird get up and stuff like that. And we're like walking through the parking lot, almost like a walk of shame. Like we're like, oh my God, we're gonna go do this. Like, you know, like.
And then it goes away after like the first take or two. You're just like, okay.
The minute that people like see you and you realize that like there are people watching us, I think it goes away, because you're just like, whatever. They already saw me looking like a weirdo.
For sure, yeah. Because it doesn't really matter. Because think about it, you've seen people filming themselves in public sometimes, and you're just kind of like, that's strange, but you don't think about it. Like you go on with your life. So you just have to remember that as you're doing it. You're like, I look so silly, but this is gonna look so cool. Like
at least the next time they see me, maybe they'll see like the video, you know, and they'll be like, oh, this was worth it, you know. This was worth walking by.
Because like shooting these music videos it doesn't take a long time. Like it takes maybe an hour or two to get everything, but sometimes we have to do the song so many times, like over and over and over again, just so that we can get like different shots of the same thing. So like for Big Boy, we did it I don't know how many times.
The song's like 1 minute and 30 seconds. So we listened to that probably like a good 30 times.
Just to get that 1 minute and a half like music video. So like it gets kind of like, okay, I'm pretty sure people can hear the song already, so they'll figure it out that we're doing something. We're not just some like crazy people in a park, you know,
with the camera.
Because that's the weirdest part.
It's not even that weird. In this day and age, everyone is just standing next to random things, trying to find a cool backdrop for their photos and whatnot.
True.
Yeah, I think that was another like pushing element, because like we're like, you know what, people just all the time, like vlogging's a thing, YouTube is a thing, people are just super comfortable like filming themselves, so like we should be okay doing it for as long as we need to. It's just every initial like
I think it's the initial like just still that childhood like fear of being like, well, what if they see me, like, you know. I think it's just like, oh no, like I'm getting a little scared because I might have to perform in front of people, and you just kind of have to let that go, which it's weird for me because like I did theater and musical theater like my entire high school career, and I still like I'm at a park and there's like a family watching me and I'm like, ooh, like don't look at me, you know. But here I'll like go out and like rehearse for like 3 months and then put on a show in front of like 100 people, and it's still the same whether I'm performing in front of 120 people in like one big theater or I'm performing in front of like a family of 5 at a park. I'm still like, ooh, don't look at me, like.
I think it's less awkward being behind the camera at all times, because I don't think I'll ever show up in a music video unless like I'm put on like super background lyrics or something, and we've all talked about like collaborating that way as well, but for now I can see myself only behind the camera, so it's really funny to say cut and then I have to like tell them to like reposition themselves while trying not to move and everything, and I don't have to do the action, so it's not as bad, but I still have to be there with them as they're doing the action, so it's like we're all connected in some sort of like public, not embarrassment, but like it's kind of like, oh, don't look at us yet. Like
we're not ready.
This is what we look like all the time, kind of thing.
you don't get it. It's not a finished product yet. Like just give it like an hour and we'll edit it together.
Yeah.
You mentioned that things turn out pretty different from the initial stages when you're planning it versus the product you put out. Does that happen for the lyrics that you're writing, the way you sing them, or even from the directorial standpoint of filming? Do you feel like you're able to convey your vision, or is it just so different? A quick interruption from this fascinating conversation to let you guys know about a tool that you can use to deepen your connection to your head, heart, and soul. I created a set of self-discovery journal prompts to help guide you through questions that will get you thinking about what matters to you and provide a foundation for a journaling practice. These are so helpful if you're new to journaling and want a little bit of guidance, or if you just want to tap in further with your vibrant inner self. There are a total of 30 journaling prompts that you can print out and work on for 30 days straight of daily journaling, or you can answer them at your leisure. I've also priced them super affordably because I think they're going to be very helpful and I want to make sure that they're accessible for everyone. Head to my website, melmakesithappen.com, or click the link in the show notes to download your copy of the 30 Days of Self-Discovery Journaling Prompts today.
When it comes to the music video aspect, because the music is a different thing, when it came to like Big Boy again, they had this idea of like cutting it up and making it look like they're stuttering and everything, and I'm like, cool, easy to do. And then they talked about different ways to do that and like how we could make them like go from like the back of the background to like the foreground and like so forth and everything. And then we have to kind of like dial it down to what is actually possible in like a time span that is possible for us, because we would go out to like we went out to the park once for the Christmas one and that was it. We did it in 30 minutes. And there's a part where Ian is like sitting outside of the car window and he's like rapping and everything and trying to be all cool and stuff. Or you are cool. But we just came up with that on the spot. So it wasn't like we went to the park with that idea. We had kind of an idea of what we wanted to do. And like for Big Boy, we did it on the mountain and I didn't think to bring a tripod. I didn't think that we were actually going to film then and there. I thought we were just going to do whatever. And then they were like, sure, let's do it here. So we have generalized ideas where we have like a concept in mind. And then when it gets to the actual filming, depending on where we go as a set, because we don't have a studio of any kind, we just kind of go off of what basically Mother Nature allows. So like we did the car scene like where he's like rapping out the window because there was no one in the parking lot. We can go 2 miles an hour and it would look really cool and the sun was like at a cool angle, because I don't think if it were in that circumstance, I don't think that we would have done it, but because it allowed, we did it, and it turned out to be really cool.
Yeah, a lot of the like what we come up with, it all is on a whim, so it lends itself to just being on the spur. Like anything we do, it can be modified because it kind of finds itself in the end, I guess, if that makes sense. You know, it kind of like makes itself, because like when I make these songs, you know, like for the beats, the instrumentals, a lot of it will just kind of be random ideas that I had. It's not like I don't like think about it too much when I'm making the music, and it goes off to Ian, and Ian's not thinking too much about like what the lyrics are going to say. So by the time we get to like the music video aspect, like it just lends itself to whatever we feel like doing. So that's super convenient. So we don't have to stick to one like concept all the way through. It kind of like, also another thing that I wanted to bring up is like we've all worked on sets of some kind. Like Marissa went to school for film, so she knows firsthand that working on a film set, nothing goes right, and you just have to be ready for when that happens. Our other friend that I've worked with when I lived in San Diego, he's also a film. He graduated with a film degree, and I'd always help him. And anytime on a set, nothing ever goes as planned. So like, and I'm sure it's the same with you, Ian. Like when you worked in theater, like nothing ever goes as planned. So we all have that concept down to a T. So we're very open to like being able to, you know, manipulate these ideas.
And I think that helps us like not get let down because like when we wing it, like there's not much room to be let down because there wasn't much of an idea there in the first place. So like I think it's really important that we get like a general idea, and then from there we just see what works. Because like if we like plan something out, there's no way that it's gonna go down as planned, because it's like there's no way that we know what's gonna be there, what's gonna be allowed, how we're gonna do it. Like even like some of the camera work, we're like, I don't exactly know how we're gonna do that.
Yeah.
But like we'll figure it out some way.
Yeah, because like the lyrics will change a little bit. Like you'll tweak them, and it usually starts out with a beat that Andrew has made, and then Ian will just feel what he feels for that beat, and then sing the way he thinks it should be sung, and then Andrew will give his input in that as well. And then while they're thinking of the song, ideas will come up like, oh, I think it would be cool to do this or something. Like the one for Dumb that you guys just released, we're constantly thinking of a music video because we started out with one idea and now we're on a totally different idea. And now we're on a different idea. Like we're constantly like changing it. So until we get to a reasonable idea where we can actually produce it, that's when it's not even written in stone. It's kind of like it's written on like tissue paper, with sand. You can kind of see through it, but if you were to like mask it on top of something else, you're like, okay, that's a better idea, and you can just like cross it out or something, which we're always open to.
Yeah, and I think it's also like we have to wait for one of us to have that like golden idea, because like
for sure,
like there's been times where like we'll be like, well, we should do this idea, and we're like, and we'll like run with it for like 2 or 3 days, and then it comes time to actually do the thing and someone brings up an even better idea, so we're like, okay, let's do that instead. That's way cooler.
Or incorporate the two.
Or find a way to like our interpretation of like the 2 different ideas or the 3 different ideas if we have them. Like I know for me, like musically, like writing lyrics and stuff like that to help the creative process is just kind of like the first thing that I have to come up with is like a tune in my head. The minute that I get a tune, then I can start writing lyrics to it. But like, it's not for every song that Andrew makes. Like, there are definitely songs that I'm just like, this is beyond my like talents, or this is like beyond what I can think of at the moment, or anything like that. And like Andrew has his own like things beyond the flu I'm not a part of, that we're not really a part of. And so like, it's really cool to see like, to work with someone and then see them also do something else. Like with Andrew, I can see him like make beats with like other people. I can see other people like rap on his stuff. And I think it's really cool to like watch someone that I know how to work with creatively do that.
What is some outside inspiration that motivates each of you guys?
It wasn't until I think my last year of school that I got into music videos, because before I thought they were too short. I've always liked music videos, but I never thought like, they're not doing anything, until I made them in school, and then I started making them with these guys. I'm like, there's music videos don't have to tell a story, they just have to look fun. So I think being able to express myself in that way has really like inspired me to just keep going. Watching really, really weird music videos definitely helps. The Babushka one by
A$AP Rocky.
Babushka
that one, boy.
If I could get up to that level of like music video talent, that would be amazing. I mean, it would be so expensive.
Like song
but, like,
talent.
I know. But like that, if you watch that music video, it's so weird, and it's like it's almost unnecessary. But I think it's so cool that someone could go out there and just create that, because A$AP Rocky was like, I want to. And so to be able to do that, even without like a budget, because we do it with literally one camera, no lights, no mics or anything, because it's a music video, but it's all done through like our inspiration of being better, I guess, and just seeing other things and being like, I want to do that, similar to that music video style or whatever. Or I'll show them like, I heard this song or something, or I saw this music video. What do you think of these colors or something? Have you seen that one? And it's constantly like we're bouncing off of each other through whatever we see in the world at that time.
For sure. For me, a lot of my inspiration comes from musical artists that try to do more than music. Like I love one of my biggest is Tyler, the Creator. He does everything. You know, he raps, he makes beautiful songs. He could do like R&B songs. He directs his music videos. He has like clothing lines. He's been on TV shows. He's written for TV shows. People like Childish Gambino, aka Donald Glover, like mastermind, like just people like that see other avenues and like artistic outlets and say, hey, I can try that. Like that's super cool. And I've always loved it. People, another big inspiration, I think specifically for the flu too, is a group, Brockhampton. They're like a huge rap group, but they're also like the multimedia aspect. It's like 13 of them, 5 of them are rappers. There's like producers, and then there's the visual people, stuff like that. Anyone that really takes it upon themselves to create their own image and try to like put it out there, image, sound, whatever, like to me those are the people that I look up to the most for sure. And like I guess people in my life, like the local music scene in the Imperial Valley, huge source of inspiration because it's just people playing music because they can and because they want to, and they want to be loud in a space that allows them to be so. Like I grew up there. Like high school, I had so many friends that like I was just like, wow, like how do you play guitar? How do you play bass? What the heck is all of this? And then I learned, and that all became like source of inspiration as well.
It's just so different. There are different parts, and you don't really see the different parts until you leave, and then you come back and you see all of the different like creative outlets people have like now really vocalized and visualized for everybody. Like they've really shared their talents. It's really cool to be able to say like, oh, I can do that too. Like I'd like to express myself in that way without, because a lot of people in the Valley, like I always like give them a round of applause for just doing them, like they do what they want to, and they'll do what they need to just kind of create what they want to create. And I think that's really inspiring to them be able to do it the same for us.
For sure.
I think me not growing up in the same space that they grew up in, and also being 4 years younger, I think that really helps. Like I know that I get a lot of my creativity from like people that I went to school with, and like how they were like a painter and I only knew them for painting, but then they like made a band, or they made like a podcast even. Like I was just like, I'm so inspired by people around me, by like not just artistically, but like also just with my life, just like knowing like people that are creative and stuff like that. Just and like thinking like what would that sound like, or what would my interpretation of that kind of stuff be. So I think that really helps me, is like looking at like other creative artists around me.
I definitely want to add on to that again, because there's something very special to me that I've always noticed it, but especially all my friends in the Valley that create music, anytime I listen to their music, it's inspiring. It's just beautiful to know that these people that I know personally are creating these emotional pieces, and you can listen to it and you're like, holy shit, I know this guy, like, or I know this girl. I need to go pick up my guitar right now. Like, that's so cool. They were able to make this cool song. Like, I want to make something kind of like this, and it kind of goes off from there. It's so cool. I think there's something warming for me when I listen to music from people from the Valley.
Yeah. And I jumping off of that, I think it's really cool to then be like, oh, I was inspired by you to like do this song, or to make this music video, or to paint this thing, or to talk about whatever. So I think it definitely helps other artists as well.
For sure.
Because if anything, we want to inspire other people to just even like move, to be like, wow, that was really entertaining for that like 2 minutes that lasted. And then hopefully that creates like this stimulation of their creative minds.
I think it's so cool how you guys, it sounds like you're expressing the fact that you don't want to be boxed into making one type of music. And I think that really speaks to us as a generation, not wanting to be boxed in with our ideas or our careers, to have that flexibility and freedom to integrate different passions and jump around to try different things.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I definitely think that is like a staple of our generation, because I feel like I've seen a lot of like, it seems counterculture now, and it's super awesome. Like when there's so many people in the Valley, that's my point of reference right now, just because I used to perceive the Valley as very like dead and stuff, and just there wasn't a lot going on. But now there's so many people just trying to like do something. There's a lot of cool like home bakeries, home cooks, people that are like creating beautiful photography. There's people creating beautiful paintings, drawings, just all the art events going on in the Valley, and people being able to display this inspires other people, and it doubles and it triples over the years. And now you can go, and now like each city has their own version of like a first Friday. And I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah. And even just like with your podcast, like talking to other people and other creatives, like I think it's a really amazing way to branch out. You're giving voice to people who might not have one. I mean, as a Flu, we didn't really like advertise like we're a group of 3 and we do this and this is my job. But it's cool to have questions asked so that you get to know like who we are and stuff like that. And not just for us, but like different creatives like in the Valley and in Phoenix, because the art scene here is like huge. So there's no way that we can touch everybody's lives, but like if we can get to even like a small like group in the Valley, in each Valley, like that would be really cool to be able to have someone be like, oh yeah, I've heard your music or I've seen your stuff or whatever, because it's kind of like inspiring to keep doing it. And it's really nice for people like in the Valley to be able to express themselves how they want to, and then be able to have that sort of like praise to know that it's actually doing something, instead of just kind of like, I'm doing it because I like it, but no one really likes it, because like no matter what, someone's going to be like, yo, that was dope as heck. Or like, maybe you could have changed that or something, because I don't know, everyone has their own opinion. And
Good criticism. Cool. Good criticism or just support.
Yeah, and I think that's a big part of like the Flu too, is that we're honest with each other. Like none of us are gonna be like, "Ooh, that was good," and even though we think it's not, like we're very honest. Like if we're like, that didn't sound right, we're like, that doesn't sound right. That's not really what I'm going for. And I think that's a big part of us, is just having to be honest with each other and allowing ourselves to be creative, but also allowing ourselves to be like shut down.
I think that's so cool. And I feel like you guys are, with the ideas that you have right now, I feel like it's very progressive, because I feel like we're in a time where people aren't consuming content in the same way they used to. I mean, years ago, people used to be able to read a book and that was enough. And now they like to listen to it. Now people like to not just read something like a caption to a photo. They want to see a video accompanying it, and then there's music. So like people want, like they want to get more bang for their buck, basically. And I feel like the ideas you guys have right now, it's just really exciting to see what you guys can accomplish with this.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. This is so nice.
Yeah. I think it's important to like, not to like splurge and be like, let's do it all, because I think that won't ever happen. But like even getting a music video from music itself is, I don't know, it's stimulating and it's really cool, just because it's like when you read a book and then you watch the movie and you're like, this is different. Like that's not exactly what I thought was going to happen, because I saw the book a different way in my mind. So like hearing the music and then watching the video, and you're like, oh, it's not exactly what I pictured, but it's still cool. I think that's enough for us. Like, and I think being able to create in different ways, in as many ways as we'd like to create, is really important.
Yeah, sure.
And being able to share it is cool too. So
yeah.
Okay, so what is your definition of success, both as a band and just individually? What do you guys define success as?
I think like for the band wise, I think success is just like getting like a few listens on it, and or hearing someone be like, wow, that really inspired me to do something. Like we've already had a couple people like tell us like, hey man, like that music that you produced or that music that you just released, like that really inspired me to like do more art. And that right there is just like, I did it. Like I helped someone. And like I think that's also individually, I think I'm just like, as long as I inspired someone or I gave someone just a little bit more happiness, I think I did it.
Yeah, I always thought that it was important to not just be like, I'm the best, you know, because I think that's almost a little selfish, but it's important to be like, yeah, we're really good at this. Like even just the very first one, the Christmas one, that came out like a joke. It wasn't supposed to be like a super serious thing. And then we went down to the Valley to visit family, and then we ended up hanging out with friends, and we got a lot of people saying, yo, we saw that and it was really cool. Like I can't wait to see more. And that was like touching. That was like, dude, we did it. And it was only the first song.
Yeah.
So we're like, wow, what else can we do? You know?
Yeah.
What else can we make that the people won't like? Kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then when it comes to like personal like success, I think it's just being able to do something that I'd like to do. If I'm doing that and I enjoy doing it, it's different than if I were it, because then it just becomes a job, like Ian had said earlier. Because I don't want to come into this room and then end up hating it because I don't enjoy making music anymore. Like if I don't enjoy it, then I think that I've failed almost.
Yeah, I think the minute that we stop is the minute that that the audience will recognize that we're done creatively. Like I don't see an end to us anytime soon, but definitely I know that like if we're not enjoying what we're doing anymore, then we're not going to do it anymore. Because it's not worth it if we're not enjoying it.
Yeah. I definitely think my personal definition of success is trying to do something, like setting out to do something and doing it. And I get a lot of accomplishment and success just from like making some songs and like putting out a video. I don't care how many views it gets, but the fact that we made it and we put our time into something and we had fun that we could watch and like recognize that it's funny and that we enjoy it and like I could show this to my friends and stuff, like that's enough for me. And like as a band, yeah, they already mentioned it, like we've already gotten good feedback on the handful of songs that we've released, and I've gotten some really nice messages from people, and to me that's enough. I don't care if our song doesn't get like 1 million plays.
Yeah,
like
I think even if like in 30 years it's just some novelty that I show my kids and be like, hey, like your dad was in like a dumb art project, like
Yeah.
you know, and they're just like, oh dad, look at you being all young. Like even if it's that, I don't care. I think I've done my job if I've gotten some people to like say, wow, this is good.
Yeah, and it's just an accomplishment and a success in itself to like be working with these two people. For me, like it's fun. It's just so fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
And like I remember the first song we released, when it got like 20 plays, I was just like, all right, that's it. We're hitting the big time. That was it. That's all I needed. 20 people played this. Oh my God. Like that's 20 more than I thought.
And I think, like our highest rated song is at like 100 or 167 like listens, and I think that's insane. I'm just like 127 times that song has been played.
I'm already like, where's Madison Square Garden? Like I'm ready for this, dude. Like my song has 167 plays. Like you can't tell me anything.
Yeah, like the minute that that it hit like 50 people, I was like, oh man, like famous. I did it. Like I got all of Phoenix to listen to my music. Like
another one is just like from the people that I know that inspired me. Like when they text me or they call me, like especially my friend Israel, and you've had Israel on the podcast before, but like that dude was the reason I picked up an instrument, and I was like, all right, I want to play in bands. I want to play bass. Like I was a little nerd. I follow that. I look up to that dude still. And like, we have a cycle of just inspiration between each other. He'll send me stuff and I'm like, I'm going to make something now. I need to show you up, dude. And like, then I'll send it to him. He'll be like, dude, that was the most beautiful thing. Like you inspired me, and you'll like send me back a painting or something, you know? So it's just like a cycle of it. But just for Israel to tell me like, dude, you inspire me. Like I was just like, game over, done. Like, that was awesome. That was so sick to like know that someone that has had so much influence on my artistic life was like, oh my God, this is inspiring to me. I was just like, oof, game over.
Yeah.
Game over.
It's really nice talking to people who are super close to you, because like Andrew and I didn't grow up with the same friends until after high school. And even then, like I'm not super close with Israel, but he is by far one of the nicest people I've ever met in my whole life. So like just meeting him was like, wow, you really care for Andrew. That's beautiful, you know? So when Andrew talks about like, oh, I'm going to send this to Israel, or Israel just sent me this thing, I'm like, okay, sure, let me see it. Like, I want to be inspired too. So I think it's a beautiful process to just be able to show our closest friends, you know? If it even just reaches that far and they're hyping us up, that's like, yeah, we have our own hype club.
Chef's kiss.
It's awesome.
Okay, we're going to start diving into some closing questions for the podcast. The first one being, what are 3 things that make you feel like your best self? So these can be products, routines, or anything.
I think writing for me is the biggest one. kind of has to be because I'm the lead lyricist. But I know writing for me, just like even if it's just me journaling down what I did that day, like it helps release like any emotion or any feelings that like I have left over from that day, even if it's not like bad or anything like that. It just helps me release whatever I need released for that day. So writing for me is definitely the biggest thing that helps me.
Yeah.
I got three. Oh, I got two more. Okay. The second one is like talking to them every single day. That's definitely one of the biggest things, is that we live together, but like it isn't uncomfortable. We don't hate each other. Thank God we don't hate each other, because I don't know what I do. Like I talk to them every single day. I hang out with them every single day. We make music. We make art. We do it like
Make food.
Yeah, we cook together. Like it's that has to be my second one, is talking to them every day. And then the third one is probably getting a good night's sleep. Like honestly, like if I get a good night's sleep, I can do anything the next day. I can conquer the world.
Yeah.
I think mine fall in similar veins. I mean, hanging out with you guys is like super cool. It's really cool to not only create with you guys, but to like hang out all the time. Like it's super easy. Like it's not that we're like, hey, let's talk about only music now. It's like we'll be talking about music and music videos, and then I'll say, hey, like I haven't been feeling too well these past few days, or like I don't really feel like cooking or whatever. You know, you just have to be also friends, which is really cool that we are, because I think that would make things a lot more awkward if we weren't all friends. I think the flu wouldn't have ever happened if we were just like, hey, what's up? I happen to see you every day. Like, okay, gonna go about my own business. It's like we all try to incorporate each other into our lives anyway. Like Andrew's going to school right now, and it's like we have no idea what he's learning because it's all math and like really hard stuff that I did not go to school for. But like the fact that he shares it with us, and we're like, oh my God, like that's super interesting. Never gonna learn about it, but I'm really glad that you are. You know, it's like we're our own support systems as well. Yeah, they definitely help me get through the day as well. Being able to create anything, like from art to doing like designs for people or even editing something. I think it's just being able to release that creative like energy that's built up, at least with something throughout the day. So even if it's like doodling in a notebook or journaling or something or anything, like drawing up a tattoo design or something, it's something to release. I think it's super important. And I'm also like super heavy about doing like face masks and stuff. I think self-care is super important, at least for myself. Like whenever I do a face mask, I ask them if they want to do it too, and usually they're down. So I think that's really fun that we get to do that together, but sometimes they're not, which is okay. But I think being able to like center myself with myself is important, because if I don't, then it's just going to be like a toxic release throughout the day, and it's not good for anybody really.
Yeah. I guess my three, dang, I don't even know. One, definitely stretching and sleep. You know, stretching before sleep, stretching after I wake up. Like stretching really helps with the centering, being able to like focus on my body and stuff and just relax and not think. I try to like be meditative as I stretch, so I don't think about too much besides stretching, and that usually puts me in a really good headspace and like gets me going. I like drumming a lot. I'm not a drummer too much, but I love playing the drums. That really lets me release like pent up aggression, or not even aggression. On actually, most of the time I see drumming as like a weird math equation, so it helps me like solve things. Like I'm trying to figure out where I could fit rhythms, so it's kind of like a Rubik's cube, I guess. And then dang, the third one, hanging out with them all the time for sure. I'm gonna definitely pick off that one because I'm with them all the time, and it does make me feel like I'm at my best self, because we all have like a good nature humor about stuff, so we're always laughing, we're always making jokes, we're always in weird accents. So it's super important that we all are very comfortable with each other, because like we live together, we create together, and we're really always together, but we're not tired of each other. Yeah, and it makes it, I don't know, they're my friends. You know, she's my girlfriend, of course, but she's also like my best friend. Ian's also one of my best friends, so it's great.
Yeah,
that is really cool. Each of you guys named that same quality. So being friends and like not just being bandmates or not just working on creative things together, but just being true friends at the heart of it. That's really That's so sweet.
Yeah, for sure. I
Yeah.
think that's like a fundamental thing of the flu. I think
Yeah, is
just friendship.
we would not be producing what we think is quality music if we did not like each other.
Yeah.
Like I'm not the type of person to hang out with people I don't like. So
Yeah.
so they definitely make it a lot easier to create.
Yeah.
And I think we also hold each other to the same standards, so it's not like any one of us is slacking behind another one, because we each hold each other to the same like moral principles, to the same standards. Like none of us are going to be making jokes that the others are going to be like, whoa, you know.
Yeah. It's also giving each other space, you know, like you can't constantly be with your best friend all the time. I mean, I love hanging out with Andrew, but I also know that, you know, we need to kind of meditate with ourselves sometimes. So like when I do go do my own thing, like we respect each other's space, and the same with Ian. Like if he feels like he needs to be alone for a few minutes, or like he wants to go meditate for 30 minutes or an hour or however long, we let him do that. We're not like pestering him like, hey, we need to get a song done or something. We give each other the time we need to create, so that it's not like a rushed process, so that in the end of each flu song and each music video and each photoshopped crazy picture you guys create, it's like it comes from a place where we feel comfortable and confident that it's something that we actually all like. Because if I create something that Andrew doesn't like, I don't want him to just settle for it, as well as Ian, and vice versa for the whole group.
That's so nice.
I think there's a lot of like give and take. Like we know exactly where like our boundaries lie. We know what we can and cannot do with each other. We know what we can and cannot say or act however way. And I think that really helps us just kind of like get in the correct headspace to be creative, because like we wouldn't be this creative force if we weren't in sync with each other.
They love to hear it.
Snap for agreement.
Oh, that's what the snapping is?
Yeah. And me doing it's like the jazz snap. Anytime I've snapped throughout, it's for if you hear random snapping throughout this podcast, listener, it's out of agreement.
Okay, so I don't know if you guys are into astrology, but what is each of your sun signs? Do you guys know?
My sun sign is an Aries. From what I've read, I don't think that I depict that very much, but I am an Aries. My birthday is coming up in March.
Is the sun sign, is that the like your main
That's
one?
your main sign.
Okay, yeah. I fall under Virgo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm a Leo. Yeah, except I think because one of my friends did a test on me to see what my moon sign was, and I think I fall more under my moon sign than my sun sign, because like Leos are supposed to be like super.
What's your moon sign?
I don't remember. I want to say that it was Pisces, but I don't hold that against me.
I know that mine is a Pisces.
Yeah, but I just know that like with Leos, there's like more outgoing and more like, look at me, and I'm more behind the camera. Like, don't look at me, look at what I can create.
Yeah.
You know? Super shy about it.
What is the best piece of advice that anyone has ever given you?
Oh man,
I think don't sweat it. Like that's honestly like the words that I live by. Like I'm the type of guy to worry, so like I think the less that I can worry and the less there is to worry about, I think. And like one of the ways is just being like, you know what, that's out of my control, I can't do anything about that. I think just don't sweat it. Yeah, it's okay. It's gonna be okay.
One that sticks out to me is this dude that I sat next to in class at IVC at some point. He was like this Air Force guy, but he was just like, I don't have too much time to worry about stuff because like I need to get stuff done. So like his whole ethos was just like trying not to stress about stuff because that gives you less time to actually get it done. So I thought that was really interesting, but he had it more from the perspective of like he was a provider for his household. He was the like main guy. So that was more from his perspective, but I took a lot of like, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
There's a
worry less, do more.
There's a quote by Kurt Vonnegut that I think is really funny that I try to like, that like really helps me calm down. And he said, true terror is knowing that your high school friends are now running the world or something like that. And I think that that's so funny. I'm like, yes, you're right. Everyone that I go to high school with is probably going to have something to do in the world. They're going to have to be an adult. And that's terrifying. I'm just like, I know what you
Yeah.
were like in high school. Like, I think that just helps me really just be like, you know what, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah. No, dude. The one that comes to mind is it's temporary, and I don't mean that like good things are temporary. Like, I mean like through struggles and like bad and negative forces and energy and everything that come into your life, it's all temporary. You will get through it eventually. Stresses of school or like financial stresses or emotional or anything like dealing with like depression and anxiety that runs through our family. It's kind of like, I know that it's temporary, and that kind of gets me through that like final push of that mental stability that I needed or that I need at the time. And then when it comes to like happy things and everything, it's not temporary, but being able to get through the hard stuff lets me enjoy the good things longer. So I have to like keep that in the back of my mind always.
What is a book, a podcast, a movie, or any sort of resource that has inspired you and that you would recommend to others?
Ooh, there's a director and a writer named Noah Baumbach that I think his work is just absolutely amazing. He made The Marriage Story, that Netflix movie, and I'm super inspired by him. He writes the way people talk, and I think that that's super important to get into like film and music and just different art is producing art that real people make. I think that that's so important to encapsulate what real life is like rather than some sort of like fantasy that you want to portray.
I would go with the writer Kurt Vonnegut because he has a lot of substance to his writing, but he's very good at telling stories, and they're usually very zany. You can't explain a Kurt Vonnegut story, but at the core of most of his stories is this like push and this message of to be good to people. And there's one book in particular. It's called "God Bless You, Mr. Rosewater," and I think just a quote that he says in it is just like, "You have to be good, God damn it," or something like, "Just be good for goodness sake." Oh, it was "Be good for goodness sakes, God damn it," something like that. You know, and that just resonated with me.
I can't think of any specific person or anything really. I get a lot of inspiration. I'm sad to say it, but like through Instagram, it's really opened up this world of like different creatives, from like singers to poets to cooks and everything. So, and I've tried to kind of limit it from like the people I follow on Instagram to not celebrities, but people who I know personally or who I've spoken to, like in person, or who I've admired from afar. There's this one. I don't know if I can call her a yogi, but from, oh my gosh, it's been like years. Her name is like Kuchira, and I found her on Instagram, and she's just all about like making sure that you find yourself important and making sure that you inspire others to feel the same about themselves. So it shouldn't just be like I'm going to do my best so that I'm my best. It's like I'm going to do my best so that I can help others. And I think that's always really important. So I'm never just focused on myself. I make sure that once I know that I have my feet on the ground, I can help others rise as well. So I was making sure that I see all those people that I follow like do their best that they can. And if they're like, "Hey, can you share this or something?" I'm like, "Of course I can. I can like share it with as many people as I think would want to see it. Whether they follow you back or whether they are inspired as well is up to them. But if I can do my part, I feel like it's something."
So I know you guys are collaborative in so many ways, including cooking. So what's your favorite food, each of you guys? Or current favorite food? Let's go with that.
Since Andrew moving up here, we've done a lot more cooking. We never cooked before. He moved in with some of our friends or was it 2017?
Yeah, 18.
18. Yeah, okay. So we have this other friend, Amber, and she loves to cook as well. And so Amber and Andrew would cook all of the time. And then Andrew moved up here, and he just got us into that rhythm. So now, I mean, before it used to be like spaghetti, but now I love the orange chicken that you just made last night.
Really good, yeah.
Lemon chicken. I
think the stir fried rice.
Stir fried rice we make really
cauliflower
rice. I think
we have vegetables. Yeah, we definitely have vegetables like down.
Yeah. Oh dang. I'm super simple. Like I love making any type of potato, like papitas, just like fried potatoes. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Love it. Delicious.
I think when we make bread, I think that's we've gotten into making sourdough. We haven't yet perfected the sourdough, but
it's still good.
We've still got really good bread at the end of the day.
Bread.
We make some pretty good bread.
Yeah, that always slaps. I don't know. I really like anything that can be made with like
we should make a
spice,
cooking channel.
You know? Yeah. Because we cook all the time. We cook almost every meal now.
Yeah.
Or every dinner, because we cook for like 6 people. But it's always really fun. Sometimes we'll put on the Great British Bake Off, I think it's called. Yeah. And we'll cook while we're watching that. We're like, oh no, she shouldn't have done that. Like she baked it too long as we're cooking as well. So it's a nice collaborative thing we do. Yeah. But as far as favorite food, I can't really pinpoint it down. Anything with a spice or a flavor, that could be chicken or soup. Caldo is amazing to me. I think it's so good, and Andrew's gotten really good at making it. So anytime he makes it, I will eat so much of it, and I regret it because it's so much food. But yeah, it's really good.
So if you could have dinner with one person who is living or dead, who would it be?
Does it have to be someone we know or someone famous, or are there restrictions? Anyone?
Oh, yeah, it could be anyone. You don't have to know them.
Right now, I think quick political plug. I would really love to dine with Bernie Sanders, straight up.
Honestly.
He seems like a very compassionate, humble man, and everything he says, the dude's just been on it. He's like an oxymoronical person. He's like the truest, most honest politician, and I'd really love to just sit with him and pick his brain about how he sees the world.
It would be really funny to say something and they get the Bernie disappointed look, where he's just staring at you
you just tell him your greatest expense.
Yeah.
You're just I spent $25 on food, and he's just nah.
That's wrong.
I think Bernie Sanders too. I love that old man. He's like your grandpa.
Dang, I don't know. I mean, I guess we're all having dinner with Bernie Sanders.
We're just gonna
really?
The flu and Bernie.
The flu and Bernie.
The flu meets Bernie.
Bernie and the flu.
Yeah. I don't know. I remember getting this question in elementary school, and for some reason my first answer was Abraham Lincoln. But now I wouldn't want to talk to that guy. It doesn't really. I'd want to talk to someone that would have similar interests, or someone that we could spark up a conversation and keep it going.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't pick someone that's super dead, but I wouldn't pick someone that's super famous and rich.
Yeah.
Maybe Tom Cruise. I don't know. It seems he does all of his own stunts. I'd want to ask about that.
That's true. Maybe I'd talk to The Rock or something.
Maybe someone not too famous, but The Rock is definitely.
He's humble.
He's on a maybe.
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay, so Bernie Sanders, The Rock, and
Tom Cruise.
you said who? Tom Cruise. Okay.
Just want to know what they're up to,
Yeah.
And then we can all come together and talk.
You won't believe who I had dinner with.
Right.
Okay, so what's next for you guys?
More music, more videos.
Right now we're working on the Dumb music video. It sounds so funny saying the dumb music video because it sounds.
We just released a song called Dumb, so planning out the next music video for that one.
Yeah. I definitely, as I said, more music. We have a few songs sitting in my phone that I'm okay, these are 90% done. We need to finish that Dumb music video. I think that's a beautiful song. It's one of my favorites, and definitely just trying to incorporate what the flu is into more artistic mediums for sure. I think we should all take up painting. Oh, not take up. but like apply that. That'd be really cool. But yeah, definitely more artwork and
yeah, because like there's not really a logo to the flu because every
artwork that we've produced is different. Like even the Photoshop pictures, like our thumbnails for our music, they're all in the same vein, but none of them really are the same.
Yeah.
So I think maybe finding a branding, something that we can get behind.
Yeah. That way it's
cohesive.
Familiar because
there has to be something.
Yeah.
There has to be something that's cohesive for our band. That way it's not just a bunch of weirdness.
Yeah. We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay, so where can people find you guys? Socials.
Oh my gosh.
So we don't have
an Instagram for the flu. We have a YouTube channel that has one video on it. We'll put the next one on it. When we're done with the dumb one, you can check us out on YouTube. The flu.
Yeah, we're on SoundCloud.
Our SoundCloud is the link is SoundCloud/The Flu Phoenix. All one word, all lowercase.
Yeah.
And so you can find us as The Flu.
I'm Andrew Tylenda on Twitter and Instagram. I'm usually posting stuff related to the flu or my own art.
I'm Sentient _ Jewel on Twitter.
Proud of that name.
I'm really proud of that one. I'm so glad it wasn't taken.
Sentient Jewel. Yeah. Mine is just Marissa Vianée. I don't have a lot of the flu stuff. I just kind of share it, really. It's Marissa Vianée, VIANEE _. And that's on Instagram, Twitter.
Isn't your Instagram just MVianee?
Oh my gosh, yes it is. Yeah. It is MVIANEE _. Yeah. You're right. Thank you. I don't even know my own handle. Yeah.
If you want on Instagram, I'm Whoopsies with 7 S's. No, I have 8 S's. Sorry. Yeah.
Wait, that's your... I thought you said it was Sentient Jewel.
My Twitter is Sentient Jewel. My Instagram is
I see.
S's. It's absurd. It's absurd, and people are going to have so much trouble finding me, but it's there. You'll know I have, like, nothing but, like, the flu on my Instagram right now, so...
Yeah.
I'll put links to those. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for coming on the Make It Happen podcast and talking about all the things that inspire you and your whole collaboration process. I think it's so cool to hear about that, especially, like I said, for someone like myself who works mostly independently. And I know a lot of other people do too. So hearing you guys' ideas and just what inspires you is going to be so expanding.
Thank you so much for having us. This is so cool. Like, this is the first time we're on a podcast.
Have an interview, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Same. So thank you, and thank you for putting us on your platform and your expression too.
Yeah. Thank you for the really good questions too. They made me think, which was really nice. I wasn't like,
Yeah,
I really had to like put my thinking cap on, so it was really nice.
Yeah, the dinner one threw us for a loop.
Yeah, you're definitely getting seasoned at this. You've asked the thinking questions, and you really did. You made us all feel included, and so super appreciate this and appreciate you for having us.
Yeah, definitely. I can't wait to see what this grows into for you guys. And I felt like, all right, this is, I don't know, something about it was just, I guess it made me really happy to hear your songs and watch your videos. And I thought, if they do anything with this, I want to be the first one to kind of plug them.
Oh my God, thank you.
Thank you.
That's heartwarming. See, that, this is...
That's why we do it.
This is success. Yeah, for real.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
So what did you guys think of this episode? Some of my favorite podcast interviews to record are the ones with other artists or creators. I love hearing about other people's process and what inspires them to make magic. I think Ian also said something really important early on in this episode. He mentioned that the flu feels fun and he doesn't want it to feel like work. So it's funny how I always seem to chat with the right people based off of what's going on in my life. So yeah, That was very timely of him to mention that. It's a beautiful thing when you can create from the heart and simply be proud of what it is you've created. For my fellow creative individuals, that can be something we lose sight of in an achievement-driven society. Inspiration is contagious. Things grow so effortlessly when we love what we're doing, and then it naturally spreads light to everyone else around. If you've listened this far, then you should definitely take a screenshot and post it to your Instagram stories. Tag me, tag us. We'd love to hear any takeaways you have from this episode. We'd love to see that you're listening, and if you have any takeaways from this episode, we'd love to hear those too. If we've treated you well, then do yourself a favor and subscribe to the podcast. That way you can get notified of any new episodes as they are released. It's free, and it's so much more convenient than having to click through a bunch of links each time you want to hear an episode. Just looking out for you here. Okay, thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I'll be back next week with another brand new episode. I'll catch you guys then. Have a good rest of your week. Bye!